Oh man, the internet is totally wrong for this video. No, not Rand Macy, as of course, right now, it's fair to say that we are dealing with unconventional forms of warfare. And whether it's fourth or fifth forms of generational warfare, AI warfare, economic warfare, or now, as Donald Trump has hinted at, new forms of conducting strategic military strikes in totally obscene, unforeseen, and mystical, magical ways is on the table. All of this as the peace deal in Ukraine looks like it isn't working, and there soon might be another conflict in the Middle East that would represent the proxy conflict between the East and the West, a situation that is crescendoing and escalating towards very grave proportions. What's going on here? As right now, we're having a lot of situations that are not that attainable and could very quickly, very surely get completely out of control. And that's why in this video, I wanted to talk about this bigger proxy war between the East and the West and its latest developments. As right now, the fights are being fought with artificial intelligence meme videos, as the Chinese have released their meme clapbacks against the memes that you just saw in the beginning of this video. There's one of fat Americans sewing and manufacturing. A hilarious video, since, of course, robots and artificial intelligence and technological advancements will be, of course, taking the job of everyone here, and the means of production and manufacturing will truly have vast amounts of influence, control, and money in the future. And I think this is why Donald Trump is going out of his way to level the playing field between the United States and China, as of course the United States has been giving China a layup and our money for far too long, to the point of a major trade deficit and creating a tedious trap that would lead us to war. Gotta like the Chinese music. It's not bad here. As of course Trump, Elon Musk, and J.D. Vance are being mocked as factory workers. Hey, there's nothing wrong with being a blue-collar worker. And for the Chinese to kind of clap back here, be like, oh, look at you. Oh, fat lazy worker. No good. It's like, yeah, really? Well, the last time a politician called Americans fat and lazy, that really didn't work out too well for them, did it? As now, the war is being fought with information and humor and memes. China also banned Hollywood movies. This is going to be a very, very big hit against the woke Hollywood industry. Other people are talking about how this will now be the final nail in their coffin. China is also threatening to unleash a $1.9 trillion tsunami on the world in drawn-out tariff warfare with the United States, as Donald Trump is getting a lot of support, even from some of his previous detractors, as the governor of Michigan even came out fully supporting him, saying that she's behind Donald Trump and his tariffs, saying this.
I understand the motivation behind the tariffs, and I can tell you, here's where President Trump and I do agree. We do need to make more stuff in America, more cars and chips, more steel and ships. We do need fair trade.
Yeah, that crazy lady that locked up people in nursing homes and put sick patients in there, she's actually right this time. As, of course, a lot of people are talking about whirlwinds of decisions, last-minute deals being made here, and even White House people being stunned by Donald Trump's moves here. As, of course, now there's some people saying, hey, China owns a lot of property near U.S. military bases. Hey, China also has a lot of control of the GNC brand that is in military bases and has important information about the customer base of some of the U.S. military fighting personnel here, as people are saying, we got to get rid of GMC, we got to get rid of their farmland, we got to get rid of their pharmaceutical manufacturing hub, which we are still fully dependent on. As of course, we have to understand here, there are new unconventional forms of warfare that Donald Trump hinted at. And again, I'll try to extrapolate here as best as I can here, because Donald Trump's comments are vast and they're big here. And I want to break it down here in real time here, because the consequences of what we could be talking about here are vast, are big, are huge. And we'll talk about some of the weapons, because a lot of people are like, oh, nuclear weapons, they're so horrible. Nuclear weapons are old tech from nearly 80 years, okay? 80 years, okay? You think we don't have new advanced type of tech, type of weaponry, type of biological, type of natural disaster, type of satellite, intercontinental space missile weapons systems? You think that hasn't even kind of changed towards psychological forms of warfare? Yeah, it has. Donald Trump said this, and again, this is big here. This is something important to look at here, because this hints at an open threat against China and Russia right now that are at odds with the United States and are going up against it.
And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. Let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close. So nobody's going to do that, but I think that if that's what you're referring to, maybe it's not.
Yeah. What does Donald Trump mean by these particular comments, and where is advanced military theory at with the latest technological developments? Well, we'll talk about that, but before we do, we want to tell you about wearechange.shop, where you can get incredible products like creatine. We have a 2-month supply just for $53, and this is the purest stuff out there, 99.99% pure creatine from Germany. As the Europeans have just lifted their tariffs, we could get our creatine here, which is the best on the market. We, of course, talked to a medical professional in the field of health and wellness, and we were like, okay, help us develop this. Help us. Where do we go? Who do we talk to get the best stuff on the market? And then, of course, we got it, and now we have it here. Common sense creatine, really amazing stuff. I mean, some of the studies coming out against for creatine, mind-blowing type of stuff here, as of course we have one Twitter user, Johnny Brown, saying creatine is one of the most research tested effective supplements available. Experts like Dr. Andrew Huberman recommend it for everyone. Here are 10 ways it could boost your performance. As of course, it helps muscle strength, it helps muscle growth, it helps exercise performance, muscle recovery, boost anaerobic power, brain fatigue, mood, enhanced memory, improves sleep, as these are just some of the many benefits that you could get from creatine. And again, I started taking this stuff. I noticed a significant boost in my overall productivity and my overall happiness. I love this stuff. I can't get enough of this stuff. I really like this stuff. I think you will too. I my family's over. I'm like, yo, you're taking this. They're like, no, it's expensive. I'm like, no, you're taking this. I don't care. You're taking this. And anyone in my life, I'm like, dude, this is the next, or dudetta, this is the next level type of stuff here that you need to elevate your game here, as there are forms of warfare already being implemented against the people of the world here that are soft kill, eugenics operations, and weapons that are being utilized against unsuspecting populations that are not taking care of yourself. I want people to take care of myself, and I'm super proud of this product. We are re-upping it as best and as fast as we can here. Supplies are still limited. Get them right now on wearechange.shop here. As of course, I think we're going to have to put the sellout button here, because we're also selling it with our baby mama Mother's Day package here. So get it while supplies last year, because I think we're going to soon have to say that it's sold out here, as we're waiting for, of course, us to be re-upped here. Now, let's go back to Donald Trump's comments here to see what he is saying here, specifically talking about weapons far more powerful than people understand. What is he talking about here? Well, he's talking about the next type of weapon that scientists, professors, experts in all fields of life have come together secretly to kind of work on. And again, nuclear weapons, outdated, old stuff, archaic stuff. I mean, the type of stuff that they have now, it looks like sticks and stones here, comparatively to the space weapons, the biological weapons, the psyop weapons, the propaganda weapons. I mean, a couple decades ago, during the 1970s, the CIA was talking about, look at our heart attack gun. You think they don't have that right now with sound wave weapons? You think the forms of interdimensional aspects of our reality and energetic frequencies all around us haven't been kind of mastered and tuned, not only to create the G note, which makes people crap their pants, but you think there's not other kind of aspects of this, as they were talking about gay bombs all the way back in the 1970s, okay? You think that stuff is being implemented right now with USAID and the CIA spending a lot of money trying to make the world gayer? You think that type of stuff isn't already implemented here? What is Donald Trump hinting at here? Well, a couple things. Probably, and this is just my own kind of initial assertions here, gene-specific bioweapons. I think he's pointing to that could only affect one specific race or genome of people, that could be implemented, that could be released, and there's nothing that anyone could ever do about it. That is also a possibility, saying, oh, this is the gene for all the Chinese people. You think the Chinese aren't working on that? The Chinese were going gangbusters for all the tests that you were nose swabbing yourself for so ridiculously for. Why? Because it had your DNA. Then they were able to DNA harvest. The FBI released a memo telling everyone, hey, watch your test because the Chinese are getting it. And then they're harvesting your DNA for multiple reasons. One, they also are going to use it to game the big pharma market, because with your genetics, you could see what kind of diseases and illnesses you're predisposed to. And then you're able to, of course, gain the pharma market by saying, oh, this many people in America are going to get this sickness. Let's put our research and development into this drug that we're going to sell a lot of profit here and be ahead of the game here. That's one way. Second way is, okay, now we could make drugs that help them and heal them. Now we can make drugs that make them dumb, stupid, and fat, and destroy their overall happiness and well-being. I think that's another aspect of this that we have to understand here. Space weapons are probably what he also talked about. The Russians have openly flaunted how they have tsunami weapons. You think the United States doesn't have tsunami weapons? You think the United States doesn't have earthquake weapons? They probably do. Let's just be real with ourselves here. As the Russians talked about, yeah, we're just going to flood all of the United Kingdom. We could do that. And here's an animation. Here's an illustration to how it's going to look like. That's what the Russians did. The Russians are now at odds with the United States, as now there's conversations about the Russians potentially causing a worldwide internet blackout by sabotaging underwater cables, as NATO is warning about how they could be defenseless against these cables and vital infrastructure being cut. The British are saying, hey, they could cut our only kind of supply to energy from Norway, as the British are also cutting off their coal production facilities. The United States doubling down on coal and energy production. Britain is destroying their own energy production, and now they're depending on Norway on one specific pipeline that they're saying the Russians might blow up at any time. As, of course, all is fair in war now, since Western powers blew up the Russian pipeline. That, of course, was the Nord Stream pipeline that was also sabotaged as a key piece of infrastructure. Are targets. And right now, the Russians are like, yeah, they did it to us. We could just do it to them. Or, more importantly, there could be a false flag attack that could happen, that could blame the Russians, that could escalate the situation and bring us on the forefront of a bigger war here. But a lot of people are warning, hey, there's EMP-style weapons too, which Donald Trump could be talking about here. Donald Trump could be talking about, yeah, we could just have an EMP go off, boop, all of your electronics, all of your data, all of your hard drives, all of the things that you're reliant got. That's the type of warfare that there's capabilities of, and it should scare the utter shit out of people, because this is real, this is legitimate, this is the type of stuff that no one really wants to talk about here. But I think it's more important to talk about it than ever. As Donald Trump is even talking about this himself here, specifically talking about how our electric grid in the United States could be very easily attacked and sabotaged.
Because we can't rely on our grid. It's old and it's tired, and it's, very subject to being attacked, whether by rain or by bombs or by anything else.
Yep. And of course, I've been telling my people, I've been telling people of lookandfilter.com, hey guys, prepare, because right now these peace talks end. Anything's on the table right now. These peace talks aren't looking good for Ukraine right now, especially with the very significant troop movement reports that we're getting, and a new offensive that soon probably will be launched by the Russians into Ukraine, as a lot of the pro-Russian propaganda accounts are saying to Kiev is where they are headed towards. And again, the troop movement is significant, and the Russians have an overwhelming advantage of manpower against the Ukrainians that have to force a lot of people to enlist here. Now, you add that to the fact that now the Russians also have soldiers from China joining them. And again, there's a lot of propaganda, there's a lot of disinformation, but as we're getting the official reporting here, Beijing, quote, is allowing Putin to recruit Chinese fighters to join its war in Ukraine, as allegedly 155 people have already signed up. Now, let's be real with ourselves. This number is probably going to go up, especially with trade talks with the United States and China kind of exploding, and us being in a full-on economic war between them. And the Chinese could be like, yeah, well, we'll just make this proxy conflict that you're involved in that much more inconvenient for you, as the United States still providing intelligence, still providing arms to the Ukrainians, and the peace deal, no one's talking about it right now. You know why? Because it's not looking good. It's not looking like there will be peace here. And I don't know who you're going to blame. And again, the levels of how all of this unfolded here is really tragic. Because again, Trump talked to Zelensky, talked to Putin, and they came and they said, listen, we're not going to bomb energy infrastructure. The Russians are like, we backed off. The Ukrainians then bombed energy infrastructure. Then they came and they're like, okay, we'll start with the Black Sea. We're not going to do anything here in the Black Sea. It looks like that's somewhat kind of, holding that. And then the Ukrainians are like, the Russians aren't holding their end of the deal. And it looks like they also violated after the Ukrainians violated it. And now the Russians are launching massive attacks on energy infrastructure and on places like Kiev and on Zelensky's hometown. So clearly, the Russians now are escalating. The Ukrainians escalated before, and it's just a situation. It's like, why are we doing this? This makes no sense. It's idiotic. It's stupid, and it's bringing us on the precipice of a full, all-out, blown war that will ruin the earth many times over and create massive amounts of destruction that will shock and awe everyone to the point where nuclear weapons will be looking like literal sticks and stones. Okay? That's the type of stuff that we're messing around with. That's the type of stuff that we're playing with. Why are we doing all this is the question. Why are we on this kind of sociopathic pathway towards full-on death and destruction here? And this on the heels of us also potentially being involved in Iran. Why are we going on a full, all-out, fledged Middle Eastern endeavor, repeating the Iraq War, but now on a scale that's 3 times bigger, 3 times more devastating, 3 times more destructive? That right there. For what benefit? It doesn't work in our benefit at all here. As now, the storm clouds are gathering. China, Russia, Iran, all in their little sphere of influences, all working, trading, coming together against the United States. And that's it. Yeah, that's the situation. As the United States is like, yeah, we'll kick up more behind. Yeah, we'll do this for another country in the Middle East, as of course serves no purpose for us. Yeah, the situation in Ukraine is the real one that I think is the most unfortunate one, because a lot of people expected this conflict to be over. Donald Trump said it would be over day one. It's not, and it's probably going to escalate. It's probably going to continue, and it's probably going to bring us towards very grave proportions of escalations and new forms of warfare that we never thought was capable beforehand. And then we will see the utter madness of man and the possibility of its self-destruction manifested right in front of our eyes in the most awful, horrible ways. I'm going to meditate. I'm gonna videotape my meditation, release it for members of LookUnfiltered.com. I'm gonna take some creatine. I'm gonna take care of my health. I recommend you do that too. That's the only thing that you get to do. Of course, really prioritize and cherish in this life when you start to really care about yourself. Start to take care of yourself, because a lot of people don't care about themselves, don't care about this world, don't care about peace. Care about yourself. At least there's no peace outside of the world. Make sure there's peace inside of you. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.